What do you get when you take a Google Pixel phone and try to make it unflattering? An Apple iPhone 17 Pro, probably. For months, leaks have been pointing at a reworked Pixel-style camera bar for the iPhone 17 series. These rumors are not totally legitimate, clearly. Per a recent allegation, the cameras on the iPhone 17 Pro will still retain a triangular design, but the bar will be expanded, with LED flash, microphone, and LiDAR scanner placed nearer the end vertically. In summary, the iPhone 17 Pro is still likely to have a horizontal strip on the rear, but it doesn't ensure the cameras will similarly be arranged horizontally. This arrangement will also give the back a two-toned impression. A CAD render of a case meant for the iPhone 17 Pro has shown up online, and it looks to validate the phone's odd design. Of course, the design may seem nicer in person, and some persons may actually be aficionados of it. But for many who were anticipating for the claims to be untrue, the new release must come as a shock. There's also a fair chance that this rumor may not materialize, as Bloomberg's journalist Mark Gurman thinks that the design is based on a fraudulent sketch. This suggests that Apple never even examined the design, let alone completed it. Moving on, the front design may remain unchanged, with the person who first reported the tall camera bar noting that the dynamic island is the same size. It's also not evident if Apple is dropping titanium, but with many who have held the iPhone 17 Pro remarking it seems lighter, a switch to aluminum can't be ruled out. According to prior reports, all the cameras, the 3 at the back and the 1 at the front, will be 48 megapixels. The series will be underpinned by a 3nm A19 chipset developed by TSMC. Apple's forthcoming iPhone 17 series has been in the conversation for a while. The latest news is concerning the display, which claims that the entire iPhone 17 series, including the new iPhone 17 Air, would employ Samsung's latest M14 with OLED screens. The M14 OLED is Samsung's most advanced display technology, which purportedly reaches 20 to 30% more brightness than the preceding M13 screen, a part of the Galaxy S24 series. The Galaxy S25 Ultra carries an upgraded version of it, known as M13 Plus, which is still inferior to what all the following iPhone 17 versions are projected to carry. As for Apple, this is a major move. The M14 was formerly designated for the Pro variants of the iPhone 16 series. By expanding the M14 to the complete iPhone 17 series, Apple is minimizing the gap between its basic and Pro models, offering a more premium experience across the board. Nonetheless, it remains to be seen if the previous rumor of a 120 Hz refresh rate on the non-Pro devices finally comes true. The Galaxy S25 series does have AI proscaler technology to enhance the display experience, but it can't fully compensate for the hardware gap left by not adopting the M14. On the other side, this choice likely helps Samsung's mobile division cut money, while Samsung Display earns from delivering the more expensive M14 screens to Apple. For Apple devotees, the rumored adoption of the M14 OLED across the complete iPhone 17 lineup is excellent news. It implies brighter, more colorful displays for all models, not just the Pro variants. So far, the dynamic island is available on the iPhone 14 Pro models, all 4 iPhone 15 models, and all 4 iPhone 16 mode. Apple is adjusting the default mode of Apple Intelligence to on. The next wave of upgrades will see the generative AI suite active after setup. The option to shut it off will remain in the Settings app, but may not be presented during the first onboarding process. Beginning with the due-to-be-released macOS Sequoia version 15.3 as well as iOS and iPadOS 18.3, Cupertino's suite of AI features, which it calls Apple Intelligence, will be turned on by default for compatible devices. While Apple's hearing test feature is available to AirPods Pro 2 customers in the US, the functionality is unavailable abroad. Given the medical nature of the feature, regulator authorization is necessary before it is turned on. Apple has announced that UK owners would be next to receive the utility. With the new policy guidance from the UK Department of Health and Social Care, we look forward to bringing the hearing aid feature on AirPods Pro 2 in the coming weeks to help improve the daily lives of so many UK users, Apple said. With other words, Apple will offer an updated version of software for the UK, probably with iOS 18, but maybe with fresh firmware for the AirPods Pro in cahoots. Next, is this what the iPhone 17 Air will look like? Concept renders unveiled. Apple is apparently contemplating revisions to its iPhone lineup with the arrival of the iPhone 17 Air, which is believed to emphasize on a thinner design rather than high-end functionality. It is also slated to replace the Plus model. Rumors indicate the iPhone 17 Air will have a fresh rear appearance from previous iterations. Waste Studio has produced a concept based on these reports, providing a potential peek at Apple's future little gadget. The concept render, based on leaked details, depicts a very thin 5.5mm profile, even surpassing the iPad Pro in thinness. On the back, the render has a vertical camera visor with a single camera lens and a flash module. The visor design mimics the one offered on the Google Pixel 9. This design-centric approach could be Apple's technique to captivate buyers, even if the phone does not feature the top-of-the-line capabilities of the Pro versions. Expected to have a 6.6-inch display, the Air falls between the normal and Pro Max models. Leaks reveal that the speculated pill-shaped camera module will hold a single 48-megapixel rear camera sensor. A new image leak of a putative iPhone 17 Air case further verifies this camera module design. The casing shot also exposes a USB-C port, speaker grills, and 3 buttons on the side. Currently, the iPhone 17 Air is expected to have a 120Hz ProMotion display, Apple's 5G modem, the A19 CPU, Wi-Fi 7, and a more durable display glass. While details are limited, reports estimate 8 gigs of RAM and a battery of about 3,000 milliamps. Compromises on battery life may be needed to achieve the ultra-thin design. Notably, wireless charging and an actual SIM card connector may be eliminated. The Air's pricing is likely to be lower than the iPhone 17 Pro, which starts at $999. The iPhone 17 series, including the Air, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max, is anticipated for release in September or October 2025. I believe the iPhone 17's camera bar design is a consequence of the iPhone 17 Air. The iPhone 17 Air's rumored 5.5mm thinness is an issue for the single-lens rear camera and the Face ID system. The latter might be too thick for such a thin device, and I'm speculating here. The solution is to put a camera bar at the top that would offer the area Apple needs for the Face ID camera. This also fixes the camera protrusion camera. Imagine an ultra-thin phone with a large camera protrusion on the back. Wait, you don't have to. Just look at the Galaxy S25 Edge phone above. I don't care how ugly or enormous the camera module is on a phone, but a camera bar would work better than a vertical module for the Air. If the iPhone 17 Air gets a horizontal camera bar, Apple might seek to make that design feature comparable across the entire iPhone 17 Air series. That's how we wind up with a larger-than-necessary iPhone 17 Pro camera module like the one in Prosser's mockup. This is just guessing for now, but we're going to uncover more specifics soon enough. In a few weeks, iPhone 17 fake devices will start making the rounds, at which point we'll know exactly what to expect from this year's iPhone design. Next, like many, you may have been waiting for the iPhone SE4 to arrive on Valentine's Day. Mark Gurman actually hinted at a release this week, before ultimately stretching out the debut date to the week of February 19. While we wait for an actual announcement from Apple, Ming-Chi Kuo provides his sales projections for the impending entry-level iPhone. The last 2 weeks have been loaded of discoveries. Analyst Ross Young originally put a stop to intrigue by proving the presence of a notch identical to the iPhone 14, denying the notion of the dynamic island. Accessory maker Spigen then unintentionally exposed the inclusion of the action button to replace the mute switch. Ming-Chi Kuo has recently published his forecasts for the iPhone SE4. The analyst forecasts sales of 12 million units in the first half of 2025. The following 6 months should see an additional 10 million units shipped, according to his calculations. The analyst's favorable expectations are based on Apple's savvy pricing strategy. If you want to acquire this new iPhone SE, expect to pay about €600 for the 128 gigs version. A controlled pricing despite the incorporation of modern technologies, including as the 6.1-inch OLED screen and Face ID, which marks the ultimate end of Touch ID on iPhones. Like many, you may have been waiting for the iPhone SE4 to arrive on Valentine's Day. Mark Gurman actually hinted at a release this week, before ultimately stretching out the debut date to the week of February 19. While we wait for an actual announcement from Apple, Ming-Chi Kuo provides his sales projections for the impending entry-level iPhone. The last 2 weeks have been loaded of discoveries. Analyst Ross Young originally put a stop to intrigue by proving the presence of a notch identical to the iPhone 14, denying the notion of the dynamic island. Accessory maker Spigen then unintentionally exposed the inclusion of the action button to replace the mute switch. Ming-Chi Kuo has recently published his forecasts for the iPhone SE 4. The analyst forecasts sales of 12 million units in the first half of 2025. The following 6 months should see an additional 10 million units shipped, according to his calculations. The analyst's favorable expectations are based on Apple's savvy pricing strategy. If you want to acquire this new iPhone SE, expect to pay about €600 for the 128 gigs version. A controlled pricing despite the incorporation of modern technologies, including as the 6.1-inch OLED screen and Face ID, which marks the ultimate end of Touch ID on iPhones. The iPhone SE 4 also marks a break with its predecessors. If you wish to buy it, you will benefit from the same 48-megapixel main photo sensor as the iPhone 15. The A18 CPU paired with 8 gigs of RAM will allow you to use Apple Intelligence, while the iPhone 14 Pro cannot. The smartphone nevertheless keeps its position as an accessible iPhone. Apple only inserts a main photo sensor, without an ultra-wide-angle module or telephoto lens. This strategy makes it possible to offer premium technologies while preserving a clear differentiation with the Pro models. So, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more tech news and updates.